All right, General Jarkeld, 4 mana, 1/2
Oh
from
God.
Ice Age, which switches the blocking creatures of two target attacking creatures. So,
Okay, so let's elaborate on this because it's not exactly obvious how it works. Also, if you can't tell, like he's holding his hands behind his back and that's his face. Like when I first saw this card, I just saw blue and I thought it was a tidal wave or
oh, I
something.
have I saw the hands, but I couldn't see the face. Now I see
Yeah.
the face.
You attack your opponent with two creatures and they block. Say you don't like how it blocks, you can tap this guy to switch the blocking creatures to the other attacker. It's very confusing. It's a flavor thing, I think.
So, um, he so basically what it does is after blockers are chosen, you can switch the blockers of two creatures. There you go.
Yeah, it's
You switch all of the blockers, not just like a.
yeah, so if you attack with creature A and it gets blocked by three creatures, and then you attack with creature B and it gets blocked by one creature, you use this ability. Creature B will be blocked by those three creatures, and creature A will be blocked by the one
Yep.
creature.
And as a note, it's just two target attacking creatures. So
You don't have to target their blockers.
you first off, you don't target their blockers, and second off, you can do it to anyone's attacking creatures.
Yeah, it's kind of political. It's kind of a political card when they're not attacking you, because then it's a defensive card.
Yeah, but it can com
Well, when they're attacking you, it doesn't do anything. You just block how you want to block.
with.
This card is like let's get to the point. This card is not good.
No, it's not. It's like a C minus.
No, this is a
It's a
D.
D.
It's so small. It doesn't
It's
like it just controls your attack. It only controls when you're attacking
well, no, it can.
and when your opponents are attacking each
Yeah.
other. So maybe it's a little better in multiplayer. Maybe it's like a D little plus. Like it's not good. It's just so bad and so small and like why isn't he like a 3/3?
Yeah, he could
If he
definitely.
was a 3/3, I'd give him like a D plus maybe.
He could be a lot. He could be like a 3/4, and I would call him a C. But he's a 1/2. So I guess D plus. I mean, I can see games where you will remember playing against General Jarkeld.
Yeah, and you'll remember how you crushed him.
You'll remember his name though, which is, D rank generals are generally like the generals, so you just kind of forget.
Yeah. Dirk, as we said, we forgot his name several times in the several attempts we did to make that video.
It's like, that guy.
Yeah, we were like that guy who does the thing with Island Walk. But anyway, moving on. There are better things to do for 4 mana in mono white. Now, Gerard
Yep,
Capashen.
Gerard Compassion.
Okay, so let's explain some things first. Uh, at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain one life for each card in your opponent's
In
hand,
target.
in target opponent's hand. So it's not like it gets better in big. Well, it gets better in big game, but it doesn't get like a
It does
lot
get
better in big game.
exponentially better. It's in a small game, it'll gain you like, 3 to 6 life a turn. In
Yeah,
in
and there are better effects for that.
in a big game, it's almost always going to get you 6 life a turn.
Yeah, he's a 3/4 for 5, and that's not the worst.
It's not very impressive though.
But this is the weird ability. Tap target creature, activate this ability only if Gerard is attacking. Now, Cameron, from what I understand, I started playing at World Wake. This used to be a very relevant ability.
So how this used to work is tapped blocking creatures dealt no combat damage. So
Yeah. So this would be like a fog then,
it would
kind of.
how it would work is you would attack with some things and then not tap their creatures before they block. You'd let them block, and then you would tap their creatures, which would prevent their damage to your creatures, and you would still deal damage to their creatures. And
Haha, I got
yeah,
you.
exactly.
But nowadays, you attack with Gerard, and you should probably be using this ability before blockers are declared to limit their blockers.
Yep.
He's a lot worse now that
Yeah.
that rule has
If this was like white and one tap target creature, he would be great. But it's white.
he'd be pretty good then.
It's white and three. It's 4 mana to tap a creature. That's
Yeah, and if you notice, he's an older card. He's from Apocalypse, I believe, and older cards aren't generally as powerful as newer cards. There's that power creep that's going on.
there's some exceptions, but for the most part, newer creatures are just going to be better. Sorry, Jared.
Yeah, Gerard is like a C plus.
Yes, I was going to call him just a flat C, but
Yeah, yeah, he's probably just a C, but he's so cool. He's like a pirate.
well, he's part of the Weatherlight crew.
Yeah, and they're all pirates. Moving on.
Guan Yu, Sainted Warrior. Once again, another creature where if you know how to pronounce it, say so in the comments with like a phonetic spelling. Otherwise, we're just going to keep calling him Guan Yu.
Yeah, there are a lot of cards from Portal 3 Kingdoms which have weird Asian names and we can't pronounce them.
Well, so the Portal 3 Kingdoms uh, was what was set in quite literally ancient China. Like it's set on Earth, and so it was created to market to the to the Chinese market. So they've got a bunch of people who are Chinese.
Yeah, but getting back to the card, um,
It's a
Guan Yu is a 3/5.
4/5, which is better than Jared,
Yeah, and he has horsemanship.
which
Now,
basically means he's unblockable.
yeah, horsemanship. There are many forms of evasion in Magic, but the most common one is flying. But for a while, they had flying and shadow and horsemanship.
Well, horsemanship was only in Portal.
Yeah, well, it was only in Portal, but like they were like they had those three, and flyers could only be blocked by creatures with flying and reach, and shadow creatures could only block or be blocked by creatures with shadow, and creatures with horsemanship could only be blocked by creatures with
So
horsemanship.
horsemanship was basically the entire reason for horsemanship is that it was flavorful flying in a set without flying.
Yeah, and the idea is that you can't block someone who's on horseback; they'll just go around you, and that's it's flavorful. But this is a 3/5 unblockable for 5. The shuffle into your library ability
Not going to
is
do.
you're not going to
So
do it.
basically, just
Yeah,
so it's a 3/5 for 5 with three unblockable and three relevant creature types: human, soldier, and warrior.
that's weird. Yeah, but just for being a 3 power unblockable guy for 5, he's probably a C plus.
Yeah, I would have to agree with C plus.
He's like the French vanilla of creatures. If you hook him up with a sword, or say a batter skull or a jit, if you want to be,
Evil.
flavorful, um, he's very good then. But if you're just attacking for 3, it takes 7 turns to kill your
Yeah.
opponent.
So if you're playing him, you're doing more than just swing for 3. You would better be putting enchantments on him, equipment on him to increase his power so you can kill your opponent faster.
Yeah, if you're playing him, you want to be going like turn 3 sword, turn 4 sword, turn 5 Guan Yu, turn 6 equip, have your opponent cry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Uh,
C plus.
so
Moving on.
has Dur the Abbot. Dur.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dur, dur, dur.
So so we kind of lied with our rating system. There's actually there's another rating, and we're calling it H. And what
For homelands.
yes, H is for
It's horrible.
Oh, Homelands. Most people know who've played Magic that Homelands was just one of the biggest mistakes in Magic's history. All of the cards are just like frail old men who might be blind.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of that. This guy is a 2-5 for 5, so he's smaller than uh I've already forgot his name. Guan Yu.
On you.
Um, and he has X tap prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target white creature you control. So doesn't help artifact creatures. This doesn't prevent damage to you. It's only to like a soldier token or something. It's dealt to him instead.
So he can prevent up to 4 damage to one of your other creatures, so long as that creature is white. That's
And if you have anthem effects, you can go a little bigger, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, you can. But
Point is, why are you playing this?
so Atalia as a 2/3 is just so much better than him already. And Atalia we called what a D or D plus or something like that.
I called him or her a C minus. You called her a D plus, I
D plus.
believe.
Asdur is the H, the secret rating that's technically not an F, but it's an
But
F.
it's like in that nether region between. It's where E would be,
Yeah.
but it's H. We have a really messed up alphabet. Moving on.
Hikari, Twilight Guardian, 5 mana, 4/4 flyer. Ooh, that's good. Um,
Whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, I believe it's Venser Blink.
yeah,
It's not actual blink. You return it at end of turn. Now, how many white arcane spells are at instant speed?
not very many. Uh,
If I remember correctly, there were like 30 maybe arcane spells in white. And let's assume that half of those are instant speed.
so
That means you have 15 blink effects for this guy, most of which are probably very bad.
yep. If I mean Hikari is just a five. Basically, you're going to have to expect Hikari to be a 5 mana 4/4 flyer.
And while that's not the worst, there's this card called Sarah Angel, and
Vigilance.
is strictly better if you're not doing the arcane, spirit arcane synergy.
If you've got some sort of effect for, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, do something, then Hikari gets better. I mean, there are ways to build your deck, but the problem is that there simply aren't very many good spirit or arcane spells, especially in white.
Yeah, and I think honestly the best part about Hikari is the fact that its picture looks like just he has an awesome looking thing,
Oh yeah, that's excellent.
but he's just it's just not that great. Um, yeah, I think that he's like just a C. Like he's not even as good as the cards that you're putting in your deck for 5 mana.
Yeah, I would probably call him a C minus.
If he's like if he's the first general you can get your hand on and you're just that anxious to make an EDH deck, go for him.
Yep.
But he's not gonna be making like he's not gonna win you any games
No.
most likely. Okay, Hikori Dust Drinker. Now I've seen this card in Cube a lot, and it's not that great there.
So how you use Hikori is with the end of turn blink effects that like Hikari uses. You say like you do Otherworldly Journey, for instance, which is one white, one colorless, instant arcane, exile target creature, return to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step with a +1/+1 counter on it. You do effects like that, or like the one white mana return target creature you control to its owner's hand. You use those kind of effects, so you get to untap your lands while your opponents are stuck untapping just one land a turn. This card will make people very unhappy to play against you. It
It's not even that they're going to be that much more screwed than you usually, because This effect is pretty symmetrical in its ability to just screw everybody. It's that you are slowing the game to an unbearable pace.
Yeah, it's just like uh,
And you're not gonna be able to find enough spells to like constantly be able to untap. And then you're untapping just so that you can, screw your opponents.
yeah. So, if you're thinking about doing him, creatures with Flash and Cloudstone Curio work well with him. Uh, yeah. There are quite a few. I'm not going to look them up right now. You can make a deck around him to just block your opponents to lock.
To 1 mana a turn.
Yeah, and it. This is not a deck I would make. I enjoy playing.
Interactivity.
Yeah, this just it's
It's not interactive, it's not fun.
it's stasis on a stick.
Yeah. It's just not interactive, it's not fun. I think that Hikori is like a D plus, maybe.
So I honestly think that Hikori's a B general, but I would never play him.
Yeah, he's a general to avoid, or it's a general to avoid. You're not going to make any friends playing Hikori. Now, Huangzong, Shu General. Again, this is guys from Portal 3 Kingdoms. Please let us know how to pronounce this.
He's a 4 mana 2/3 that can't be blocked by more than one creature.
Now, this guy makes me sad.
Yeah, he he has he doesn't have evasion.
Yeah, he doesn't have some kind of ability that like makes it hard for your opponents to deal with him. He's just a 2/3.
Yeah.
Your opponent can just put a dude in front of him.
Your opponent can put a 3/3 in front of him.
Or like a 3/1 and kill it. Like then you're gonna spend 6 to get your 2/3 back.
Yeah, he's not a
If this guy cost 2, he would be a C for me.
yeah, he's definitely a D.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's a D, and yeah, like he's a D minus. He's just, like we've looked at other generals just on this page that are much better than him. He is just so much worse than Brigid, and like even Chomano.
yeah, he's just really bad.
Okay, so there's Iona, and we're gonna go on to Isamaru, right? No, okay, we're gonna talk about this.
Okay, Iona, 9 mana, 7/7 flyer. Okay, that's pretty good evasion, and it kills your opponent in 3 turns. That's nice. Uh,
Oh, and your opponent can't cast spells.
oh yeah, there's that.
Now, this is something that this just came from me being, a wee little noob back in the day. But I thought that you could respond to them choosing a color. You can't. If you're playing a mono black deck and your opponent casts Iona, you are not going to be able to Doomblade it
No, because the
ever.
because it says as, not when. Um,
It's kind of like clone.
yeah. So like Clone says, as it enters the battlefield, choose another creature and play. If you do, it comes into play as a as that creature. Iona says, as Iona comes into play, or enters the battlefield, sorry. You still use the old terminology. As she enters the battlefield, choose a color. How the as works is it's technically a replacement effect. It says instead of entering the battlefield,
You are choosing a
choose
color.
a color.
And once you've chosen a color, yeah.
So as soon as she enters play, it's too late to react to her. She utterly shuts down monocolored decks. There has been only one case that I know of where I have beaten an Iona in a monocolored deck. And
What, with a Brittle effigy or something?
I know this was actually against you, where
Oh, was this when I was playing my Iona deck back in the day?
yeah, I used
Oh, you had reanimation. That was why.
I was playing my Rhea Dawnbringer deck, and I got Miria. I got Miria the Sky Ruin out with enough planes to get it active, and then I was drawing 2 cards a turn from Illuminated Folio. Um, so I was discarding cards at the end of my turn to have get reanimated with Emiria, and I won the game because I just got
Oh, he just overwhelmed. He had Rhea Dawnbringer, he had an active Emiria, he was discarding creatures, and he had a Blazing Archon on the field, which for the life of me I couldn't get past. Iona is a very easy A.
very easy A.
And if you're playing in a monocolor deck, your opponent's just not going to play you. It's one of those ones where it's like your opponent's it's like 8.5 tails against the white deck, except this is for every single color deck.
Yeah. Unless
Um,
unless your opponent's winning on a turn before 9, Iona just wins the game for you.
Iona is kind of pseudo banned in our group of friends. I can't play her in my reanimator decks against monocolor decks.
Yeah, because it's just not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. Anyway, moving on. We're almost there for this page. Isamaru, Hound of Konda,
1 white mana. Ooh, I like the sound of that.
and it's a 2/2.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Period.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no effect. This is a vanilla 2/2 for 1, which is very good.
yeah. I mean, there for the longest time, White Weenie was one of in constructed play in like tournaments. White Weenie was a very big deck. Four Savannah Lions and like Isamarus and just a bunch of other White Weenie cards.
That sounds horrible.
Now it sounds horrible, but back in the day it was really, really good.
I'm sure. Isamaru, though, as a general, it depends on how aggressive and how Voltron you want to go.
So if you're going aggressive with creatures, he's a great 1 drop. He means that you're always casting something on turn 1.
Yeah. And, some EDH decks get into the awkward position where it's like, well, you know, I don't have. I'm not usually doing anything on turn 1. If I don't have a Soul Ring, I'm not doing anything.
Or,
But again, you're probably not playing Soul Ring in your Isamaru deck.
so against a lot of EDH decks, it's okay. I'm not doing anything turn 1. I'm not doing anything turn 2. I'm like cultivating on turn 3.
Isamaru by that point has gotten in for 4,
Yep.
and or more. If you go Isamaru and then turn to
Oh,
what's
sure.
yeah, like what's a good equipment or a good enchantment?
I think Bone Splitter equip would be fine.
Yeah, Bone Splitter equip would just, your opponent's dead in 6 turns
Yeah.
or 5 turns because you're attacking this turn, and then you equip something else the following turn.
Yeah. Isamaru can definitely get big very fast. Although the problem is after he dies, he's not that great.
Yeah, a 3 mana 2/2 is like it's not. That's like
A great
the
ogre.
yeah, it's a gray ogre. It's that card in draft that you don't want to play, but you're short on playables. 5 mana 2/2. You're just what are you doing?
Yeah.
Isamaru needs to win the game his first time around.
Yeah.
You're not gonna win. You're not gonna get to 40. You're not gonna get to 21 general damage if you're recasting him, most likely.
So Isamaru, I would say, is a metagame general where you see your opponents all they're doing is playing big creatures and bashing them into each other. Um, so you pull out your Isamaru deck and kill them before they get their big creatures out.
Yeah. The thing is that Isamaru also gets exponentially worse the more opponents you have to face.
That's true. That's the same with any aggro deck though.
Yeah, but I feel like Isamaru is more of a Voltron general. You want to get up to the 21 damage very quickly, and then if one of your opponents dies and your other opponent kills Isamaru, you're kind of up a creek.
Yeah. Uh,
I think that Isamaru is a B minus.
I
But the thing is, he's a vanilla. He's a vanilla. He doesn't have any effect.
his effect on the board is that you play him on turn 1. His effect on the board is not, ooh, I can play him on turn 3 again and get his effect back because by that time he's a 3 mana 2/2 and that's just not good.
Yeah, if you go turn 1 Isamaru and your opponent goes turn 1 Plow, Path, Dismember, you're probably very poor shape because your deck is based around Isamaru.
Yeah, so that's a B minus general. He can be excellent when you know what you're playing against.
Yep. Okay, so this is the last general of this page. We'll do another page later, and then we'll do the final page, and then we'll do a wrap up for white. But right now we're talking about Jareth, Leonin Titan, and this guy is big on the defense.
Yes. So he's a 6 mana 4/7. So that's already a pretty big butt. And then on top of that, he gets +7/+7 whenever he blocks,
Yeah, so your opponent, like even Ulamog doesn't beat through him. Like nothing beats through Jareth.
except for Emrakul, which is banned in EDH.
Yeah, like short of pumping a creature that big, you are not going to find a creature in the game of Magic that can fight through Jareth.
Yeah, and then on top of that, even if you do, guess what he can do for 1 white mana? Get protection from that creature.
Yeah, Jareth is very good. He can also be very good on the offensive because of his protection ability.
Because, well, like we said before, protection,
Hell, for 5 mana, he's essentially unblockable except for artifact
that's
creatures.
5 mana, though.
Well, yeah, but that's against, say, a 5 color deck. Against a 1 color deck, it's 1 white mana. He's unblockable. Against a 2 color deck, it's maybe 2 mana. Like if they have both colors.
Yeah, and so he can be very aggressive, except for the fact that he costs 6,
Yeah, if he cost 5, he'd obviously be better.
obviously.
But um, if he cost 5, then he'd probably be aggressive enough.
If he was 5, I would definitely call him a B or B, like a B plus general.
Yeah, I think as he stands, he's probably a B.
Yeah.
He's just. How do you fight through
The
that?
only thing you can the only easy way to kill him is a wrath effect, and then you're starting over too. I mean, you're trying to beat through him. If
You're gonna lose creatures on the way.
if you try to Doomblade, well, 1 white mana, I've got protection from black. If you try to Path to Exile him, well, 1 white mana, I've got protection from white. You try to unsummon him, well, 1 white mana, you got protection from blue. You try to Lightning Bolt him and lightning
That's a bad
and
example.
lightning bolt him a third time. If you try to
If you're trying to kill him, you're not gonna kill him. Is what we're getting at. And yeah, I think that he's just a very solid like B. He might even be a B plus. I haven't tried him.
I think that he's a B plus if he costed 5, which means that he's a B now at 6.
Okay. Well, guys, this has been fun.
Yeah, this
We're obviously going to do another one of these.
this is the first page of legendary white creatures. Next time we're going to do the second page.
Whoa, really?
Whoa, no kidding.
Whoa. Okay.
This is going to be from the Kataki's War's Wage to Horus Semite Guardian. So that's what you can expect us to do next time.
And I'm thinking next time's going to be a little bit more interesting. These generals, from the look of it, are they have more abilities. We're not going to be dealing with as many just vanilla unblockables or this creature's just straight bad. Like we have Linvala, we have Lin Civi, we have Konda, Lord of Ijango,
Yeah, we're going to have.
Iganjo, and we have Kemba. Oh, we're going to talk about Kemba.
Oh, Kemba. But anyways, that's for next time. So
This has been Ben and Cameron from the Command
we're
Tower.
signing off.